In this episode, we'll explore how, ironically, the restrictions of Shabbat actually liberate us by lifting the mental load we carry during the week. When we are overburdened, our happiness is constrained. To be happy, we need to be free. Pharaoh recognized this. When Moses said, "Let my people go," Pharaoh's reaction was to intensify their labor. Pharaoh crushed the spirit of the Jews by making them work harder, hoping that they would be too exhausted and distracted to indulge their hopes for freedom. The Midrash tells us that Pharaoh actually removed their right to rest on Shabbat. Previously, Moses had managed to negotiate Shabbat as a day off for the Jewish people, which gave them time and space to restore themselves physically, emotionally, and spiritually, and to find hope for the future. Shabbat was their island of freedom. To dash their hopes, Pharaoh took away their Shabbat respite and made them work every day of the week. When we keep Shabbat, we remember that freedom is a precious gift. We remind ourselves that we are able to enjoy freedom today because God liberated us from slavery generations ago. Keep the Shabbat day to make it holy, and remember that you were slaves in Egypt and the Lord your God took you out from there. And yet, in some ways, even today we remain enslaved. We are assailed by the burdens and stresses and pressures of the work week. Shabbat is about liberating ourselves from our weekday taskmasters, allowing ourselves the headspace to enjoy the day. This freedom is not just physical respite from work, it is the mental freedom of knowing there is not even the possibility of doing it. The Midrash teaches that when Shabbat arrives, we should feel as if we have finished all our work. It is that one day in the week when there is no pressure to carry out our regular daily tasks simply because we're not allowed to. During the week, even when we take a break, the burden of our work still hangs over us. But on Shabbat, our mental load is lifted. At God's instructions, we put everything aside without any guilt. We feel the calm and peace of mind that comes with knowing we can slow down and relax because our work is done. We are truly free. Shabbat also gives us spiritual freedom. When we are consumed with the unrelenting demands of our lives, we are distracted from our priorities, becoming slaves to ambition and materialism. We remove these self-imposed shackles by setting aside a day when everything stops, when we are relieved of our spiritual enslavement and free to reconnect with our higher purpose. On Shabbat, we can breathe again and focus on what is truly important. And this freedom belongs to all of us. When Shabbat arrives, every Jew, rich and poor, man, woman, and child, is freed from the burdens of work to enjoy the day with dignity and tranquility, regardless of our circumstances. Freedom, dignity, joy, and comfort fill Jewish homes the moment Shabbat begins. No matter what burdens we carry or status we command, on Friday afternoon, as the sun sets, we are invited to leave our worries behind and experience real freedom together as equals. I invite you to learn more by reading my new book, Shabbat, A Day to Create Yourself, and find out how you can use Shabbat to get creative and change your life.